Last Sunday, I found myself on a pavement trying to decide whether or not I was going to climb 8 meters high using a ladder. Now, what had happened was I left my apartment trying to go to the supermarket, but as soon as I finished the staircase going down, I realized that I didn't have my keys or my phone. And the problem with my door is you can't open it if you don't have a key, even if you didn't lock it. And so I sat there for like 30 minutes trying to think about how I was going to get back in because the tools that I have in my car, I couldn't access them because I'd given the car to someone else and I couldn't call them to come or use the car to go to get a spare key from another friend. And so I was left stuck there thinking about asking for help from passersby, but we don't memorize phone numbers anymore, so that wouldn't help. And I hoped that I would see someone I knew passing by the road or driving by, but that wouldn't happen for almost an hour. So I got this idea to go and try and get a ladder which they have on the back side of the building and go maybe try to climb from the balcony side, which was open because I had hung some clothes over there. So I thought maybe I just give it a try. And so as I was unfolding the ladder and trying to extend it, I was also hoping secretly that it doesn't reach the balcony. At least I can tell myself that I tried, but it's not my fault that it didn't work out. But it actually reached. And so as I was trying to decide, I was thinking about how if I stayed there for 4 hours waiting for whoever would come, then that would be my Sunday gone. And I don't know that they would even come. So I didn't know. I would be essentially waiting for help that I wasn't sure was going to come ever, right? And so I thought about climbing up, but I didn't have anyone to hold the ladder, and that would have been more dangerous than it was. I was scared already. I was scared already because I have never climbed up 8 meters high using a ladder ever in my life. And so I went around the building trying to find someone to hold the ladder for me because I decided that doing it alone would be tricky if anything happened because I would not be able to call for help or no one would see me and try to help me. And so I got this guy who came and held it for me and I climbed up and got to the balcony. Long story short, I managed to get back in. But later on, I sat down and I started thinking about this situation and how scary it was for me to go up that ladder, right? And I imagine that someone who uses ladders and climbs heights like this every day would not have the same issue. If they saw me doing it, they would encourage me and maybe even laugh at me if they saw how afraid I was, right? And if someone else who had never used this ladder before or any ladder before, who wasn't used to climbing up any kinds of heights, right? They would think I'm insane. And so this led me to thinking about how our fears are guided by our context, right? They're guided by our biases and things that we've seen before. And so those things that we're usually afraid of, we are afraid of them disproportionately because they're not normal things. They're not things that usually happen in our lives. And the things that might be dangerous, they might be the cause of a lot of pain. We don't think of as dangerous because we do them every day and nothing happens. And so that desensitizes us to the potential danger that these things might pose. For example, driving, right? When you're on the road, there's the car you're in, there's all the parts and everything that could go wrong with them. And there's other people with their cars and and everything that could go wrong with those ones too, right? But we drive every day and we don't even think about it because unless you've been in an accident before, you can't fully appreciate how dangerous being on the road in a car can potentially be, right? And so these things that have novelty, like climbing up a ladder or like having that conversation that you're scared to have, that you don't usually have, that stands in between you and getting the job that you need to have or the kind of relationship that you want to have, that conversation, you don't have it every day. And so it feels more scary than it should, than it actually is, because it's something that you don't usually do. Now, the question is, what happens if you don't do nothing? And so, if I didn't do anything down there, I would have probably stayed all day out. Maybe I would have eventually got help, but there's no telling how long that would have taken. And so I would have wasted time that I might have used productively or rested or done something with. But that would not have happened because I would have waited. And so the thing here is, whenever you don't do anything, when you do nothing, when faced with a decision that you're supposed to make or an action that you're supposed to take to get to where you want to go or to get what you want or to achieve a certain objective or goal, when you do nothing, it feels like it's inconsequential, right? It feels like nothing is going to happen. But the reality is, even though we cannot conceive what will happen, something will happen. So it's not that if you do something, then what you're afraid of will happen, but if you do nothing, then nothing will happen. No, maybe that which you're afraid of will not happen, but something else will happen. So you'll not get what you want, you'll waste time, you'll be exactly where you are in 2 years, and you'll wonder where time went or what happened or why you didn't commit to that thing that you're supposed to have done. And so I thought maybe I share all this in a video. Maybe next time you find yourself in a situation where you're afraid of something, you'll not ignore your fears, right? Because fear is real and it's there for a reason and it's usually to protect you. But the problem is not having the fear, it's overreacting because of it. So next time, ask yourself not just what will happen to me or what will happen if I do this thing, but also what will happen if I don't do anything? What will happen if I don't move? And maybe you realize that that's the better way to go about things and that's the better thing to do, but at least you'll have done it consciously. See you on the next one. Bye.